Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we are looking at the chariot bugs. Chariot bugs, or phaetons, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, are a low ranking, small, supportive type bug. They are not designed for combat and therefore are weak, slow, and lack both offensive and defensive capabilities. Resembling a mix of giant bugs or woodlice, chariot bugs are primarily used to transport brain bugs. Hence their name. Brain bugs lie on top of them to be moved around. Occasionally, chariot bugs are also used as scouts for clearing minefields. They are capable of moving 18 kilometers or 11 miles per hour. Historically wise, out of the lore, chariot bugs accompanied the brain bugs during its incursion into Whiskey Outpost. They were consumed by uh, where it consumed the brains of several humans. At least one chariot bug was killed and later discovered by Johnny Rico of the Roughnecks, who found its carcass under some rubble. During the invasion of Planet P, chariot bugs escorted the brain bug to a cavern where Xander Barklow and Carmen Abanas, which I know I'm messing up her name, were captured. The chariots entered the cavern ahead of the brain bug, inspecting Barklow and Ibanez briefly before the brain bug arrived. When Carmen was rescued by and the brain bug fled, the chariots fled as well. They were not seen again when the brain bug was captured and were either killed or escaped. In the Battle of Kowalsha, chariot bugs were present and occasionally attacked humans when threatened. However, this tactic proved to be very ineffective. So we do have a couple pictures here. Um, this looks. I'm not certain if this is from one of the role playing games that they had done, from the official role playing games, or if this is a CGI. So I'm just throwing that out there. Um, and then, of course, as they're walking around, here's the dead carcass of one. And last but not least, this is from, I think, their own online server. So just kind of going from there. All right. So, another fun bug. Actually, this would be a great bug for starting off a campaign to say, hey, you're getting into somewhere, you run into a couple of these as they're scouting around, and then you start getting everyone into the normal bugs. Uh, Something to just kind of wet everyone's feet so they get used to doing combat or whatever into that realm. And I think that would be a great start. And then you probably don't see them until you actually do come across like the inner workings of, say, any of their hives. So that's kind of my take on it. Right or wrong, it's I always like getting everyone kind of used to the system and how we're operating things and stuff like that. Even though, we've been doing D6 for a good number of years. It's always great starting off new characters with something that's not instantly going to kill them, and then after that, get going into the main storyline. So just kind of adding that in there. All right, well, let's get on over to our D6 stats that we have from D6 Holocron and go from there. All right, so looking at what we have here from D6 Holocron, the chariot bugs have a dexterity of 2D plus 2, but a dodge and running skill of 5D plus 2. We also have a perception of 1D plus 1. We have a hide and sneak of 2D plus 2 and a search of 2D plus 1. Uh, just keep in mind, 2D is really roughly about our galactic standard. So if I'm just coming up with just saying something is our standard for the galaxy, 2D would be my standard. So the hide, search, and sneak are just a little bit above that, although its initial perception is below that. All right, we do have a strength of 40 plus 1, obviously needed for carrying around the brain bug. Uh, Climbing and jumping is at a 70 plus 1, and lifting is a 70 plus 1, which does make a lot of sense trying to haul the most important brain bug around. Orderness is a 2D. We have a move of 20. So these are fast little buggers, able to go twice the standard speed that of a standard person. It says 13 while carrying a brain bug, which is still faster than most people are actively moving. All right, size is roughly about 1.3 meters long. And then all the natural abilities. So we do have the natural armor being strength plus 1d plus 2 to resist damage. We have blind sight out to 20 meters. So, using non visual senses such as sensitivity to vibrations or smell or hearing, echolocation, whatever, they're able to see out to about 20 meters in total darkness. And then we have conveyance. Chariot bugs are designed specifically to transport large, less mobile arachnids, such as the brain bugs. This role uh, defines their wide, flat shape and their relatively high speed. They also have an added benefit of being able to apply their speed to any arachnid they carry while riding a chariot bug. The arachnid may also act as their chariot bug's initiative score rather than their own as they wish. All right, description. These oversized shield bugs serve to illustrate the hypothesis many scientists have been pondering since the discovery of the arachnids. They seem quite capable of breeding important needs and abilities directly into their populace. This concerns Psychon because of the short time the bugs seem to need to adapt to anything that can be thrown at them. While chariot bugs are not dangerous in their own right, uh, what they suggest is very discerning indeed. All right. Now, of course, this is all coming from the Starship Troopers role playing game source book, as well as the wiki and that as well. It's another interesting bug and something that can carry on, uh, you know, the notion that the bugs themselves take care of breeding everything that they need, much like what we do in human civilization. We have people that are artists, people that are builders and doctors and all the important things, and then we get some of the chaff as in there as well, like politicians and all that other fun stuff. Just making jokes at all of this. It's just the whole thing of the bugs have very specific roles, and it's all done that way to support the hive. Much like you have regular ants, and then you have the army ants that will help defend the hive from something else. Um, and then, of course, we have a queen, and so on and so forth. So, with all that being said, thank you so very much for joining me today. It's wonderful having you here. Thanks for helping me dive further into the Starship Troopers uh, kind of universe here so we can explore more into it. This is one of the bugs I do remember. Once we get into like the skinnies and that, those are, I remember watching the cartoon, but I honestly don't remember them. So, but there again, I'm starting to realize some of this stuff was made quite a few years ago, and my mind is just not as sharp as it once was. So, and it's fun going through this stuff. I enjoy the D6 system and to be able to bring all this stuff into it, even if it's, and I've said this many times before, wanting to share some from one theme and throw it into another or whatever, something along that line. So, with that, hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.